Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So this is the HTC U11 and this is my final review or final thoughts on it, at least up to this point. Now I've had this phone since launch, and the red one came in afterwards, but the blue one I've had it since launch, and it's been a great experience. This is actually my daily driver, the HTC U11. Now, if you didn't pick up this phone, all I can tell you is that you missed a good one. I mean, it has 4 gigs of RAM in the US model, Snapdragon 835, a Quad HD 5.5-inch display, 12 megapixel on the rear that shoots in 4K, and 1080p at 60 frames per second now with that software update. It does have a 16 megapixel on the front with 2.2 aperture that shoots at 1080p. This is one of the biggest highlights of these phones right here. To me, now the Edge Sense, I'll get to that shortly, but this is just definitely a follow-up to let you guys know these phones are fantastic, man. And if you didn't pick them up, these are going to get Android 8.0. It's already been confirmed by HTC. For those that think that's important, it will get the latest software update. However, you know, the front-facing cameras on these devices are just amazing. I mean, I actually use this phone to record nearly everything on my channel, like 99%. And when I'm not using these phones, I normally use my other HTC device, which is the HTC U11. I normally use, when I'm recording these phones, I normally use this phone to record as a backup. Not a backup phone, but just, you know, to keep the same type of quality. But since I just recently purchased the Moto Z2 Play, which is what I'm recording this with, I decided to use this one because I'm in a testing phase with it. But the HTC U11, to me, has the top of the line cameras. Now, I did go to the Samsung event and I did test the front cameras. Now, while the rear cameras definitely might rival this camera on the back of the HTC U11, the front camera is still on the HTC U11. In my experience, of all the phones I've used, all the phones that I've used, it's the best set of cameras ever. It's a good combination, a good package. The front camera is just amazing for doing vlogs and front-facing video, and I just don't think you can go wrong with it. I mean, it is a 16 megapixel camera, and it's definitely much better than every other 16 megapixel camera that I have. The OnePlus 5 here is definitely better than that camera, and I have some other phones that are 16 megapixels as well. But this front camera here takes fantastic footage, and it takes fantastic stills as well, no matter what the lighting is. I mean, like right now, it's actually late in the evening. As you can see there, it's almost 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, PM. And, you know, the Moto Z is doing really good, but this phone right here does really good at any lighting. And, you know, it's just a really good thing. So aside from it having a 5.5-inch Quad HD display, it has some fantastic hardware. Now, I've ranked this phone the most beautiful phone of 2017, and I'm sticking to that. I've also ranked this phone #1 in 2017 as well, and as of right now, I'm sticking to that too. I think this is the phone to get this year because it's priced right. You get a whole bunch of good features, all the latest specs pretty much, and if not more. This phone, they have some kind of liquid crystal. This is obviously the best color. You know, this color right here, some people call it the Iron Man color. It's called solar red because it changes. You can see orange, yellow, red. You can see all these different colors. And this is amazing silver, which is my second choice. This thing is like a powder blue in some lights. It looks purple sometimes, dark blue. It is just beautiful. HTC did a fantastic job with the hardware on these devices. Metal frame and then like this liquid crystal metal, whatever it is, design. It is freaking awesome. I mean, you talk about killer hardware. If you're looking for great hardware, there is no other beautiful phone than this phone right here. So with that, you've got a Quad HD 5.5-inch display. You've got the best hardware in my opinion. Then you got that 12 megapixel and that 16 megapixel on the front. You do have a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, and some people complain about this, but I actually have fantastic battery life on my phones. Both of these phones get easily through a day with 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. Predominantly, it leans more towards 5.5 or so in most cases, but it is still fantastic battery, because that's not just through a work day, that's through a full day, like a full 24 hours. And these are also IP67 certified as well, which is dust and water resistant up to 1 meter and 30 minutes. That's fantastic. I mean, there's a lot to call out about this phone that's really, really good. And I just don't see why a person would pass on this. And I know you have your own preferences, but my preference is this is the phone to buy, period. And again, inside of this thing, you have 4 gigs of RAM in the US model. There is a 6 gig, 128 gig model in the US. So you can find that as well if you just feel like you need that. But you do get an SD card with the 64 gigs. I would like to have seen the 128 gig model priced a little bit less, but it's still priced less than several other flagships that don't have 128 gigs. So keep that in mind. So internal storage is there. Quad HD display is there. Beautiful, stunning hardware is there. Cameras are unmatched by several phones on the market, in my opinion. Great battery life. And no, I didn't leave it off. It does have dual speakers. I mean, they didn't leave anything out on this phone. Some people think that they kind of tried to make their way back from what they considered a failed HTC U Ultra. I don't consider the Ultra a failure. I think it's a fantastic phone because you get a much bigger screen and you get a secondary display. So they packed it in. Dual speakers that are actually really loud. You do have fast charging. You've got a noise cancellation mic. You've got Type-C. I mean, you've got actually 4 microphones all over this phone because it has 3D audio for recording. But you've just got stellar hardware all packed into a feature-rich phone. Now, one feature I've heard a lot of people say it's a gimmick is the squeeze feature, where you squeeze the edge of the screen and it will start the camera or it'll do something. And you can, just how quick that is just it's gorgeous. So that is a feature that it's been off because I've been using this phone to record in the tripod, and I got a new tripod and it's like super tight. And it doesn't turn on the edge feature, but I don't want it to mess anything up, so I turn it off while I'm recording. However, the edge feature is fantastic. So there's a lot about this phone to like. I mean, and it's all about preference. I mean, I hear a lot of people complain about not being able to get an affordable flagship, but check all the boxes on this phone. Quad HD display, superior hardware to a lot of phones, the latest Android version, lots of memory, cameras that are unmatched by several cameras on the market, good size. I mean, dual speakers, USB Type-C. There's this 1.7 aperture on the rear too, just so you know. It has optical image stabilization, dual tone LED flash. I mean, they've put everything into this phone that they could possibly put in here to please a person who wants this super flagship at this point. I mean, this is really, really good. And it comes in beautiful colors. What? Ugh. This is just gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Tell me these phones are not beautiful. Get out of my shot. There we go. Pause right there for the thumbnail effect. Or I'll just take it again afterwards. So, you know, I want to close out this video by saying this is, to me, yes, I think this is the phone of the year. For one, I didn't even talk about the price, but it's only $650. And then the 128 gigs, I think $729 or something like that. Those are totally doable and totally worth it in my experience with these phones. I would definitely tell a person to get this phone over an S8, over a G6, over any other phone that you could think of. It's that good. You're getting beautiful, beautiful hardware, and it's just something to be desired by a lot of people. So I'm going to get out of here. This is my follow-up video with the HTC U11. It is still my daily driver. It is still the flagship of the year, in my opinion. At least up to August 2017, it is. So until something knocks this off, I will compare it to every other flagship that I get, and we'll see how it holds up over time. Dual speakers, waterproof. Come on, guys. This is a win-win. So, do you have an HTC U11? How's it holding up? Have you had it since launch? It's your man Jay Will. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.